Hello, welcome to Southern Wreaths. Make sure you watch my video till the end to get a sneak peek at my next video, and please subscribe. Today I'm going to make this burlap square fall wreath. These are the supplies I'm going to use to make this wreath. The thankful sign I had already previously painted white, and I had it on a different wreath. I somehow lost the footage of me adding the leaves, but basically all I do is cut up all of the picks that I have, the flowers, the leaves, the berries, and then I'm going to add them to the frame by twisting them around. I will tell you, if you decide to do this, be very careful. I stabbed myself a few times. If you go through after you cut your picks up and take the tip and like turn it up, once you're adding them in, you won't hurt yourself because it won't be pokey. It would be like, a blunt edge. That would be my biggest tip for this because it did hurt. And I'm adding a lot, so there are tons of, little pieces sticking out as I'm trying to wrap. You could probably add floral foam to this somehow and then just poke them in with that and maybe some hot glue. I was just using what I had on hand, and since I didn't have any floral foam, this worked out. But I did poke myself a lot. I was bleeding a little bit, so be careful. And that's all I'm doing is just wrapping it around. And the great thing about it being wired is as you're adding, you can move everything to where you want it. As long as you've got the height you like, you can add it anywhere. And I decided to do this before I added the burlap just so I would know what area I'm covering. And with this particular wreath, I hadn't 100% decided if I was just going to wrap it or if I was going to do some kind of like pull-through method. I kind of wanted to do kind of a grapevine-inspired wreath, but with the square wreath. And since, I can't find a square grapevine wreath, I thought this was a great way to do it. You could probably make a grapevine wreath with using the square frame if you know how to do that. I don't know how, but I thought this turned out nice. I like how it's different, but it still has fall colors. And I hadn't decided yet if I wanted it to be like straight up and down or if I wanted it to be, cornered like a diagonal, like a diamond shape. That's what I end up going for in the end. So you can see I kind of have the leaves on the edge, and then I'm filling it in with sunflowers. The cool thing about this is you can make it, any colors, any theme. This would be really pretty in spring. Just put lots of bright colors. And instead of maybe leaves, you would have some greenery. I'm using mums, berries, leaves with some of the leaves have like berries, some of them have pumpkins and acorns, and then sunflowers. Some of them like to pop off, so I will glue them back on. I did decide to add a little bit of sparkle to this wreath, so I picked up some of the Dollar Tree, I think it's supposed to be like branches, or maybe it's like a fern, but you can see it there. It's kind of a copper color. It's a brownish copper color. I really like the sparkle that I added. And since I didn't add any ribbon or anything, it just brought the wow factor. Because the burlap itself is brown, and then the sign I painted white, so I thought it needed something to really stand out. And with these flowers, I'm keeping them in bunches of 2, and I'm just filling in anywhere where I feel like there needs to be a break in the sunflowers. When you're doing wreaths like this, a lot of times it's just how you want to arrange it, how you feel that it should be. And it's a lot of fun because you can make it your own. See how it looks on the back? Like, be very careful because it will poke you. And I cover all that up at the end, so it's not like super ugly and it's not going to scratch anyone's door. And I'll show you how I do that. All right, with these, I push them up to the top because they're kind of spread out on the stem. And then I'm just adding them the same way because all of these are on wires. I really, really like this wreath. I like how it's different. I'd never really thought about wrapping a wreath frame with burlap. I've seen people do it with the floral foam rings, but never with an actual like wreath frame. I'm sure that people do it. I just hadn't seen it. And I really wanted to do something different than the grapevine, but I really wanted to use all these really pretty flowers. So this is what I came up with. It would actually look beautiful if you went all the way around with flowers too. Oh, I forgot I had these too. These are like, they remind me of corn cobs. I'm not sure what they're called, but they have like a piece of grass on them, which brought in some green, which was nice. And I picked those up in the orange and the yellow. I like to have some things that stand out further just to give it some height or spread it out a little bit. And this would actually make a really pretty like centerpiece on a table. If you went all the way around, maybe put a candle in the middle or a pumpkin. It would be really cute. And it would be different since it's square. I really like using things that are a little different, but this is what it looks like on the back. It's just a big tangled mess. Like I said, if you take the tips and turn them like completely up, it will make it where it's not pointy on the ends. I decided I was going to do these like trifold, and I'm doing this so it's thicker to go over the back of all of these wires. But I just fed the zip tie through, like wove it in and out through the burlap just to get a good grip on it. And I thought this brown color was really nice. And I'm kind of pulling it over the edge, and then I'm going to go back through just so I know that I've covered every single piece of metal. And with it having the 3 layers, it doesn't poke through because of the way I attached it to the frame. You could probably hot glue it. I just thought this was a better way. It's more secure and you know that it's not going to go anywhere. And here you can see how I weave it through. And that's just so you don't lose grip on it. Sometimes when I attach things with a zip tie, they can slide out, and this just keeps it from moving. Now I just pulled it down so I can make my way back up. And when you fold it like that, it creates kind of like a tube. And so it's got the 3 layers coming across. It's really nice. And now I'm just squeezing it to see if I could feel any wire sticking through. And since I couldn't, I thought, you know, this was going to work. It's not going to poke through and destroy someone's door. I'm just using it to help me get it through the right spot. And now I'm just going to attach it like around. It took me a minute to get the zip tie to go all the way through. But this just made me feel better about covering up the wires, because those wires will scratch a door. And you want to make sure you push your zip ties back too, because they'll scratch a door too. Now I was thinking of doing the trifold for wrapping. I ended up kind of doing away with that and only folding one side down. This just made it where you couldn't see through to the wire. Because burlap's pretty thick, but you can still see through it a little bit. So see, you can, on the right, I've got it folded over. So when it's overlapping, it's covering really well. So it's kind of like it has 3 layers. And I'm just going to show you how I wrap it around the corner. As I'm coming around, I'm trying to keep it even, but I'm not too picky about that. Just because I like my wreaths to look like I made them. Like they're not perfect. So the corner was a little tricky because it wanted to round. And at the end, I do go through, and I'm pretty sure I show you where I take a zip tie to get it to stay down because it kind of wants to poof out. Now see, I've got it halfway on the corner. And when I pull it around, it's going to kind of like snug around it, kind of hug it. And then I'll pull it out to the left instead of back towards myself now. And then I just continue wrapping. And every once in a while, I'll stop and glue it to itself. But see how it's kind of curved? I tried to do away with that a little bit. I couldn't do, away with it completely. But I do go back through and make it a little bit snugger, if that's a word. A little more snug. There we go. See, I was trying to tuck it as I was pulling over, and it worked well for that part, but the corner's still sticking out. I don't know why that bothered me. All right, so here I'm doing the end. I've already wrapped the other corner, and I just wanted to show you how I finish it off. And I am wrapping as much as I can to cover all of the frame. I know you can't see it, but there's still parts exposed right there. Because wreaths like this, where they look nice on the back, you can hang up on a glass door. So I really wanted all of the wire to be covered. And I just fed it through the burlap that's already there and the burlap that I'm trying to secure, and then cut it away. Well, I guess I don't show you, but the corners, I turn it over and I take a smaller zip tie and I squeeze them together, and then I feed the zip tie through and tighten it, and it kind of held it together a little bit better. And then to attach my sign, I am pushing the pipe cleaners through the burlap and through the wire frame, and then just attaching them on the back. And this did take a little bit of time to find a spot that I could get through all of the layers. And I did use a brown pipe cleaner just so if you could see any of it, it kind of hid it. I thought this was a nice finishing touch though. All right, and there I am pulling it through, and then I'll just twist it around. And you could add a sign to this instead of a word. That would be really cute. All right, now I'm going to show you how I made it where you can hang it. Since it's all covered in burlap, there was no hook. I'm just feeding this through just like I did with the word. And then when I get it through, I'm pulling it until I'm happy with the length. Okay, so I do get to show you. So I pinch it together, and then I'm feeding it through the burlap, and then when I squeeze it, it kind of makes the corner tighter. It's kind of like a package. I think I only did it with this particular corner, but I think it helped a lot. It makes it a little more square. But that's it. That's how I made my burlap fall square wreath. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, or you can email me at craftingwithlee@yahoo.com. And thank y'all so much for watching. If you learned anything today, or if you like my video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.